Hey, hey. Hi, guys. Welcome back. All right, Saggies. Actually, that feels like the wrong deck. Let's use this one. Sag, happy full moon. Don't know that this is a super moon, so it's closer to the earth. It appears bigger. It's stronger. And this happens to be the deer rutting moon. And so there's a lot of different names for any of our full moons. You can read up on those on the Old Farmer's Almanac. But the one that captured my attention was the Lakota's name for it, which is the deer rutting moon. So with that in mind, I'm looking at this as, our traditional method that, says a full moon can be a good time to bring things up from the subconscious to the forefront, bring things that are hidden into the light so that we can release them, free ourselves from them. But in this case, we're also adding in that, for me anyway, for my inspiration, more around the topic of relationships. So we'll see what is coming up. We've got a Five of Swords. We got the Lovers in the reverse. My, how things do change. This could be that Sag is, sometimes we don't know when something has really like irritated us until later. Especially if this is a Sag who is like slow to anger, they process things, they let somebody say what they're going to say, and they just think about it and they ask themselves, like, okay, the way that person spoke to me, the things that they said, did those things have merit? Did those things, were they warranted? This could be a Sag who is like so remarkably like self-aware that they pause and they listen to what somebody says to them. They really weigh it and they go, is there any merit to what they just said to me? And then over time, it almost looks like Sag is saying, that was some bullshit. This is a bunch of crap. I put up with crap. I think that this is Sag freeing themselves from this concept that somebody has something to say to them. And although I don't think Sag reacted at the time, I hope Sag doesn't waste any of their precious time being like, oh, that might have been 3 months ago, but damn, I'm going to be writing them a letter now. It's probably not worth it. And Sag knows this, but I will say this is, I think all this is testament to Sag is probably a really great energy. Hi, Ginger. So good to see you, babe. Sag is probably incredibly mature, and they have a way of saying, in the moment, I digest, I receive, I listen, I absorb, and then I analyze, and then I come up with my conclusion. And I look at it from, every lens, and then I actually say, no, that wasn't okay. I don't like what happened. None of that was accurate. And you know what? I'm leaving. Now, in truth, this could have already happened some time ago. Sag could already be done. Or Sag is somebody who they take things in, they don't react. And then as they address it and assess it, that's where Sag is like, and I am like one piece at a time, I am addressing the information, and I am like, I'm thinking of like a big warehouse where somebody walks through and they flip off all the light switches until there's just one left, and then finally that's closed and they lock the door and they walk. That's more what this feels like, because this is Sag saying, I could literally be treated better anywhere. I could literally have better passion with almost anyone anywhere. I could literally have I'm sorry, but it's a Beyonce moment. I could have another you in a minute. Matter of fact, they'll be here in a minute. To the left, to the left. Everything you own to the box to the left. I think with the Seven of Cups, it's like, do you really think that you're the only lover out there? Do you really think all those ribbons represent the maypole, and the ribbons that wrap around the maypole is a very lusty card. This is the Ace of Wands, right? And what the maypole kind of symbolizes is, usually all these colorful ribbons that are attached to one pole in the middle. People hold the ends of the ribbons and they weave in and out around each other, and they are wrapping and braiding the beautiful ribbons around this maypole, right? That actually kind of signifies like bodies writhing. It's kind of a sensual thing. And my point is not to be crude, not to be rude, but I think Sag is realizing, literally, I could have any lover, and there's better ones out there. And although I don't think Sag is going to bother to say it, although with the Eight of Wands, that is action, But I think this is more like Sag is getting the hell out of here. They're leaving this whole thought process behind because this was the lovers is in the reverse. I think Sag either was not very nicely treated by a lover, and it took Sag a while for them to kind of like address it and say, yeah, I really don't like how that all went down. I really don't like how I was treated. And then it's like that, sometimes people look at their past with rose colored glasses on. Oh, hell no. Sag is like, I don't have glasses. I don't have goggles. I look at it with complete, like, analytical eyes where I processed everything. And you know what I see? Bullshit. And that's why I'm gone. And let me tell you, I could get with anybody who would be a better kisser. I could find way hotter people. They're everywhere. They're all around me. So what the hell was I doing putting up with that? This is probably the most joyful, forward, progressive. This is somebody who's not mad and letting it like make them sour. This is somebody who's like good mad, if that makes sense. Like, I'm not putting up with that. Are you kidding me? There's better lovers everywhere. I'm not sad. I'm not shedding a single tear over this whole mess of the past. Now that I've assessed it, what's coming up from my deep subconscious is that honestly, you weren't that even hot. you know, I think, and I don't think it's to be mean or petty. Okay. Maybe it sounds like a clap back. Maybe it sounds like I'm being bitchy, but honestly, seriously, I don't know who it was who treated Sag poorly, but frankly, they were not hot enough to behave that way. Not that being hot would ever give you permission, but I'm just saying that's if we want to be kind of like, saucy and spicy and clap back and a little catty, I'll say it that way. This literally is like Sag is ready to say, I could literally go out right now and sit down in any local pub and probably have more stimulating conversation, have somebody who treats me nicer. It's like I'm stepping through a portal where all of a sudden I realize everybody is nicer than what I came from. Everybody treats me better than that one person I had, been around. And I'm sorry that I'm being so blunt about this, but these are blunt cards. This is a mess. And it's a mess that Sag shouldn't have had to deal with. And this is Sag getting over it in probably the most thorough way because we don't see any wasted hurt. We don't see Sag crying. And that's what I'm so happy about. I always say the best revenge is to forget. Just forget this even happened and just move on with life. The best revenge is for us to just move on. And who cares about whatever happened? We had a whole life in front of us with all new people to meet. And it can be better and more beautiful and sexier and spicier and just more fun. And I think almost anybody would be better company than whomever Sag had to deal with at one point. Again, the only reason I'm saying that is because whomever this was they were not nice. This is somebody who's mean with their words. This is somebody who tries to win. This is somebody who cuts another person down. This is not a lover. This is a foe. This is not a friend. This is somebody who's a frenemy at best, and why would we ever want to be around that? So I love the fact that we're just done. We don't usually get characters that are just one-dimensional villainous scenarios, but in this storyline, look, sometimes those are the stories we get. I'll read whatever the story is because it's all fiction anyway, so please bear that in mind. What I care about in this is how we're not focusing on the villain. We're focusing on how Sag doesn't care about the villain because their life is going to be full of better people and they are literally planting new seeds, new friendships. There's no pause other than there was already a pause as Sag was analyzing this. And that's what this full moon is bringing up. I have thought about it. I have been fair. I have been judicial. I have looked at it. I have considered, did their words that they said to me, were they true? Were they trying to be, maybe harsh, but truths that I needed to hear? Or was it trash? In this case, it was trash. And Sag knows it. And I love a character who's confident enough to say, some people are just mean. Some people are just petty. I don't have to take that on. It's hard to know the difference between that sometimes, and to Saggy's great credit, they're intelligent enough to chew on it, ask themselves what's true and what's false, and they know themselves well enough, especially after consulting with their subconscious, to know, yeah, that's baloney. I'm not taking on any of that. That person said mean stuff for a mean reason, and I'll hang out with mean people. So onward, here I go. There's better people everywhere, and it's instantly Sagi's life is better, and instantly I think Sag is done thinking about that person from the past or the situation from the past. We've got a Six of Pentacles in the reverse. We got the Eight of Swords in the reverse. We got the Five of Swords upright. Sag may very well block that person of the past, because there's that Five of Swords again. They may block that person in every which way. And I do expect that at some time, this person will try to connect with Sag again, not to be friendly or anything, but just because they might want to keep a conversation going. They might still reach out again to be like, I don't know, keep an argument going or something. That's okay. They're already blocked. I think this is one of those situations where, you do have to know when to silence stuff. You do have to know when to just be like, honestly, I don't care. You can have whatever opinions you want, but you don't get the right to speak them into my ear, because, like Ludacris says, that's not what I'm trying to hear. So get back. I love Luda. I love that song. We got the Three of Wands. Yeah, it doesn't matter. I'm looking to my future. My future doesn't have this person's voice in it. They don't get to text me. They don't get to keep platforming and shouting their stuff at me. They can hold whatever opinions they want of me. That's cool. That's fine. But I don't have to receive. Why would I have to open their texts and emails? Just because they think something at me, think something of me, or because they're angry about something, that doesn't mean I have to absorb it or give them a space to, spew their vitriol. So I'm looking at my future, and I can just say they're not in it. So let me go ahead and just, this is Sag shutting it down. And I would say blocking. That's kind of what the decision is during this full moon. The truth of it is, I don't want to hear any more of this. I just want to look to my future. I've already made the decision. I've already come to the conclusion, and I'm already gone. Tell me about that Three of Wands. What's Sag thinking about for their future? A Four of Wands. King of Pentacles in the reverse. A Ten of Wands here. It's, again, I think this is a very realistic Sag. They're like, my future is going to be something that I invest in, and it's going to be happier. And I know that there are other people that I will love. There are other hotties out there that I will be attracted to and who will be attracted to me. I don't have to worry about that. My future that I see for myself is, I want a Four of Wands. I want a relationship where it's harmonious, where somebody likes who I am and I like who they are, and we want to be together. But I might not be ready for that for a little bit, because I got to make real sure that that person of my past doesn't leave me with any echoes. I don't want any triggers that I'm unaware of. So I'm still gonna need to just, this is like 3 days to 3 months. I could see Sag wanting to stay single for like 3 months, just to make sure that they don't carry any, even if we know somebody's words were unkind and untrue, it doesn't mean that it doesn't still leave us with, okay, I'll say it this way. One time I bought this car off of Craigslist, and the engine I could tell was good, but they had driven it through a sandstorm in the desert, and they had run the windshield wipers, and they had completely scratched the glass. I mean, you could barely see out of the damn thing. And I was like, I'm going to buy this car because it's cheap. It looks terrible, but I'm going to buy it because I can replace the glass. And it's not in the sandstorm anymore. Once I replace that glass, I'm still going to, carefully drive. I'm not going to take it anywhere too far. I want to get to trust the car first. So even though it's no longer in the sandstorm, even though now it's mine, even though now I've replaced the glass, I still don't trust it until I've worked with it for a bit. That's the way I would describe Sag in this. I'm better. I'm beyond the past. I can see clearly what it was, but I'm not fully trusting of, how reliable is this? Was I damaged anywhere else that I don't see yet? Let me just make sure. I'm going to have a happy outcome. I know I'm going to meet somebody wonderful. I see a Four of Wands in my future, but just not instantly. I don't want to date just yet. I want to drive my car around a little bit. I've replaced some stuff. It's going to be all right, I'm pretty sure, but I still want to be, well, let's just make sure that there's nothing else that needs a little bit of money thrown at it, a little bit of more, tune up. That's the way Sag seems to be proceeding. So they may not instantly jump into any new relationships for about, anywhere 3 days to 3 months. But again, that's okay. Sag is already well on their way after this full moon to feeling so much better, so much happier. The biggest thing is that they had that breakthrough where they didn't let some kind of unkindness taint them at all. They're very undamaged by this, yet still mindful that I still want to take a little bit of time and make sure that I don't have any triggers left from this. And I kind of think that's, again, just testament to like what an intelligent Sag this actually is. All right, you guys, so nice to see you. Wendy E, hi babe. Sarah J, Prior on Fire. You guys are so lovely. Thank you so much for being here. I hear you, Wendy. Ginger Montague, you're adorable. Carol, hi babe. Nice to see you. All right, you guys, lots of love. I will see you again in the next one. I want to get the rest of our zodiacs out tonight. So thanks so much for being here, guys. Thanks for giving it a thumbs up. Lots of love to you and happy full moon. Bye for right now.